Well, here's some of the damage that we received from our last little adventure. Our GPS kind of failed us and sent us down a bad road. This is what it looks like here. So stick around, we'll give you the whole story.
Let's. Okay, well, I wasn't going to make this video. You know, our whole goal in this channel is to try and inspire people to get out there, get in their RVs or get an RV, get out there, have some adventures, even if it's just locally around you, and have some fun. But it's just not fair if we don't show everything that happens. And what happened on this trip was our GPS failed us. It happens. If you've ever used a GPS, you know that sometimes it takes you off someplace you didn't plan on going. It will get you there most of the time, but you never know what road it's going to take to get you there. And the GPS thinks that you're driving a smart car, the maneuverability of a smart car anyway, and it has the off-road capability of a Sherman tank. So if that's the kind of vehicle you're driving, you're always good to go. GPS will always take you where you need to go. The only problem is that when you're RVing, sometimes all these roads don't really work all that well for you. So you got to do a little trip planning. So this was what happened with us as we were going on our Branson trip. Been there before, it'd been a little while, so I wasn't all that familiar with the roads. So I wanted to plan it out. And I always look at my GPS, and then I look at a trip planning program. There's Allstays, RV Trip Wizard is another one. Any of those RV trip planning programs are real good because you can put in the height of your vehicle, the length of your vehicle, all those types of things, and it'll help not take you down roads where you're going to have low bridges, those types of things. So I look at my trip planning wizard or program, and then I look at my GPS. If they're taking me on the same route, I know I'm good to go. I do use like satellite views, like the Google satellite views, if I want to see what the road looks like, or if I'm going to go to a parking lot, or even the truck stop I'm going to go into, what's the way you go in, what's the way you exit. You know, all those things are always good to check on to see, you know, what you're doing. It's not hard. It's actually kind of fun to do, and it kind of builds a little excitement because you kind of get to see the areas where you're going to be traveling through. So it's not that big a deal to do. But it's a big deal if you don't do it. So anyway, on this trip, everything looked good on our way out. And it was. I put it in a GPS, off we went. Took me the route, just like it was supposed to. Here's my first mistake. I didn't plan my trip home. And yes, you need to plan your trip home, because just because your GPS sent you that way doesn't mean it's going to bring you home the same way. If you've ever used one, you'll know that. So that was my first mistake. The second mistake, we're traveling at nighttime. I don't like traveling at nighttime. Everything looks different. It's hard to find your exits and places where you're getting off the highway. I don't know. It's just so much harder traveling at nighttime than it is during the day. So that was number two. Anyway, what happened was, on our way home, my GPS actually sent me off about 2 exits before I was actually supposed to get off the highway. I guess it decided that I could save 30 seconds if I went this route instead of going the other route. So anyway, I turn off onto that. It's at nighttime. We're going a little ways and we're starting to think, things aren't looking exactly like they were on the way down. Is this really the right road? Well, we're going, and pretty soon this road gets a little narrower, and then it turns into a gravel road. Now, we're not talking a nice, well-maintained, groomed gravel road. We're talking big potholes, places where water run across the road and made big ditches in it. This was a nightmare. This road was awful. And it is out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. There wasn't a house light. There was nothing. It was pitch black out here on this gravel road. I am not going down this gravel road. I don't care if my GPS is telling me to keep going straight or not. I'm looking for the first place to turn around. I'm heading back to the highway. So anyway, we see a road. It may be a driveway. Who knows? It looked like a driveway, but it was probably a road because it was much better than the one we were on. But it went off to the side, up a hill. I mean, a steep grade going up the hill. It was full of potholes and the rain running across and the whole bit. On the other side was the other road, but it turned back at a sharp turn going back this way. So that was the opposite way of why I wanted to turn around. So my only choice was to go up this hill, come back down into that turn, and then it would send me back where I wanted to go. Okay, well, now my wife has been traveling with me since the start. She's seen us get in and out of places before. She wasn't all that excited. She's just watching out the window, make sure I'm not running into any ditches, anything like that. Now, Grandma, on the other hand, she gets excited pretty quick. And if she thinks that you don't know exactly where you're going or that we're down a road that maybe we hadn't planned on, her anxiety level starts to go up. When we hit this gravel road, her anxiety level on a scale of 1 to 10 was about a 20. I mean, she thought she was going to die. She thought, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody around. We don't know where we're going. We are not going to get out of here. We're going to die out here in the middle of nowhere. That's the place where she was at. So anyway, we get up here to where we're going to turn around. I give Grandma one of the walkie-talkies, give her something to do so that she can kind of be involved and see what's going on and not maybe get her panic level down a little bit. So she's out in the back because literally I can't see anything except what's directly behind us from the backup lights on our trailer. So anyway, we go back, we go in there. The problem is going down that hill. Now let me tell you, this hill, I would never ever have a tow vehicle that's not four-wheel drive. This is not the first time I've had to use four-wheel drive. The time before, it was the actual road going to the campground. There was no other way to get to the campground. And it was down a real loose gravel road. And to come back up it, I had to use four-wheel drive. It's the only way I would have got out of there. So four-wheel drive is definitely number one on my book when I'm looking at a tow vehicle. So anyway, going down this hill, the big problem is that it was so steep. And then when we come down to that level part of the road, that our spare tire dragged on that road when we were coming out through there. It's cosmetic damage. It's nothing that's a big deal. It just skinned up the spare tire cover. So nothing that I'm all that concerned about. I was going to get it fixed. Now I don't even think I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave it on there as just a little reminder that I need to always make sure that I've got my trips planned before I head out. So anyway, we did fine. We got it turned around. We got out of there. We got back to the highway, made a new route. It got us home. We were okay. Everybody lived. So anyway, lesson learned is that I always want to make sure, I need to make sure that I'm always planning my trips both ways, not just one way. I need to also make sure that I'm making my notes. like especially when I'm leaving the highway and I know I'm going to be going on to a 2-lane road or something like that, I need to be making notes of that exit, where I'm going to be exiting off that highway. Just a little bit of a plan. I don't need to write every turn by turn, but I need to at least have some of those notes down in the places where it could be bad, just so that I have that as a frame of reference. Otherwise, when I see that, hey, you know, I'm not supposed to be getting off of this exit, keep on going until I get to the actual exit I'm supposed to get off at. Be really helpful. Really helpful to do that. So anyway, I just thought I'd share this with you, and maybe those little tips will help you. If I can show you my mistakes and you can learn from my mistakes, it'll make your trips a whole lot more enjoyable, and you won't end up down some dark gravel road like we did. But anyway, I still encourage you, get an RV if you don't have one. If you have one, get in it. Go out. Have some adventures. Have a good time. All right. Thanks for following us. We'll see you next time.